Once again we are back to the class and we are continuing with what we were learning in the last class. In the last class we were seeing what was the importance of organizing in an organization, and as we move on to the next topic we are going to see something different. Before that, let me ask you, here we have a number of students in our class, and if you are looking at each of them, they don't look similar. Why? Because of their size, shape. Of course, the genes also matters, but basically looking from a common man's point of view, it is the size and shape and color and all. So leave the color, leave the size, shape. Okay, what gives shape for your body? If you are watching, you can see many of your, look at your fingers itself. It is flexible, we can move, we can hold something very tight. But think of a situation if you don't have bone in your fingers, what will happen? You will not be able to clutch to anything very strong. So it is the skeleton, what gives us the shape. It is skeleton, the bones which is inside the flesh of our body is giving us shape. Likewise, when we are looking into the organization, we can see that organization too have a structure. Organization have a structure, and today in this class we will be learning about organization structure. Organization structure, and that is the topic which we are going to learn. Organization structure. Organization structure. So likewise, our body is having a structure, organization too have a structure. And if you are asking what is the meaning of organization structure can be said as a framework within which managerial and operating tasks are performed. It is a framework. It's a framework. It's a framework. It's a framework within which managerial and operating tasks are performed. So it is a framework, it is something within which all the activities in an organization take place, or it is within that frame, within that level, within that area the things are happening, and this framework specify who is who. This framework specifies the relationship between people, work and resources. So it is within this structure, within this outline, all the activities in an organization is taking place. It is within this outline. It doesn't goes out of that outline, or that is a frame within which things in an organization is happening. It can be managerial, it can be operating tasks, and it is creating a relationship, or it is specifying relationship. It specifies relationship between, it is specifying relationship between people, work and resources. Work and resources. It is specifying relationship. That means within this outline, when managerial and operating tasks are performed, it is clarifying who is to do that particular work and what is that particular work a person has to do and what all resources are to be used. So, this organizational structure is giving a clarity regarding the work, clarity regarding who is doing the work and clarity regarding what all resources are to be used for performing that work. So, it is a framework within which managerial and operating activities are performed. Again, there is something called a span of management, or it is giving a clarity regarding what is the organizational structure or how will an organizational structure. There is something called span of management. Span of management. Span of management decides up to a level. Span of management gives shape to the organization. Give shape to the organization. That means organizational structure up to a level is dependent on span of management, is taking its shape from span of management up to a level, we can say. So, we must understand what is span of management. Span of management is number of employees a manager can effectively handle. Span of management is a number of subordinates a manager can effectively handle. This is number of subordinates a manager can effectively handle. So, span of management is the number of subordinates a manager can effectively handle. Up to a level, span of management decides how the organizational structure will be. It is highly, or it gives a shape to a greater extent. This span of management is giving shape the framework, giving shape to the organizational structure. So, span of management has to be considered. It gives shape to the organizational structure, and span of management is becoming important because it is helping in smooth flow of communication and better control. Helps in smooth flow of communication and better control It gives smooth flow. It makes sure when there is a framework, when there is a clarity regarding who to do the work, what all resources are to be used for doing the work, and what is the work to be done. All the clarity, all the resources are there, everything is made clear. Automatically, it helps in smooth flow of communication. When there is decision regarding who is superior, who is the subordinate, what is the work, what are the resources, it automatically helps in smooth flow of communication and better control can be made sure. And one more thing you have to understand is that organizational structure helps in specifying lines of authority. It specifies lines of authority. Specifies lines of authority. Specifies lines of authority. That means superiors from whom the orders are to be taken, who is to give the orders. That is very clear. Specifies lines of authority, who to whom, and who will be superior to whom. So, all those things are made clear, and of course, it also clarifies the areas of responsibility. Areas of responsibility. It clarifies the areas of responsibility. So, to put it in short, organizational structure is a framework within which operating and managerial tasks are performed. It specifies the relationship between people, work and resources, and span of management to a greater extent decides the framework, because it is a number of subordinates a manager can effectively handle. If a manager can handle only very less number, organization structure will look small or become small. Or when a manager is able to handle more number of subordinates, there will be change in the framework. And another thing, organization structure help in smooth flow of communication and better control. It specifies the line of authority and areas of responsibility. So, this is the meaning of organizational structure. Now, we have to understand organizational structure can be of two types. Organizational structure can be classified into two types. Organizational structure can be classified into functional structure and divisional structure. Organizational structure can be classified into two types, that is functional structure and divisional structure. Now, we are going to see what is functional structure or organizational structure's first classification, that is the functional structure. Now, what is functional structure? What is functional structure? Functional structure is organizing departments, or when an organizational structure is formed on the basis of major functions. Or organizing is done on the basis of major functions, or on the basis of major functions departments will be created, superiors will be made, subordinates will be given. If it is done so, we can say it is formed on the basis of major functions and we call it functional structure. So, functional structure is a way of forming organizational structure, and there will be a head, head for the organization, and it includes the major functions which are performed in an organization. And the functional structure is an organizational design that groups similar and related jobs together. As I have said, departmentalization means grouping similar jobs. When that departmentalization is based on major functions, we call it functional structure. Now, there are advantages and disadvantages of functional structure. That is what we are going to see. One of the advantage of functional structure is occupational specialization. Occupational specialization. Occupational specialization because it gives emphasis on specific function. It is continuously focusing on major functions, and employees will be doing the same job again and again. So, they will get well versed in that job. Occupational specialization. Again, control and coordination will be easy. Promotes control and coordination. Promotes control and coordination because similar jobs are being done, because tasks are similar in nature. So, need not focus on too much things. It is very easy to control the common job or similar job. As there is similarity in task, it is very easy to control, it is very easy to coordinate the things. So, One can be connected with other very fast, easily we can understand the job, and whatever corrections are to be given as we are repeatedly doing, we can easily control it. So, control and coordination easy. Again, increases managerial efficiency, increases managerial efficiency. Increases managerial efficiency, managerial and operational efficiency, because same job is being done, same work has to be supervised. So, every time repeatedly doing the same task automatically makes a person very well versed in that particular area. So, managerial efficiency, the result will be much more, or the performance can be made better as times go forward, as number of times the work is being done, automatically it helps in managerial efficiency. Another thing is minimal duplication, minimal duplication. Minimal duplication because of the reason a function is being performed only once, number of times it is not performed. If finance is done by a person, that person only do the financial areas or financial matters is being handled by a single person. Production or purchase, everything if it is done once, automatically there is no repetition, there is no duplication of the same efforts, there is no duplication of one job. So, minimal duplication, automatically it brings down the cost and it results in economy. So, that is also another benefit. Again, training becomes easier, training easier, because a particular job or a particular task is to be trained, the same task is to be performed, need not be well versed in number of tasks, because it focuses only on limited range of skills. So, training becomes easier in an organization when it is functional in nature, and ensures that all functions get attention, all functions gets attention. Each function is given priority, so automatically every function is getting due importance. So, that is also another benefit. Again, coming on to disadvantages. Disadvantages. There are certain disadvantages. Advantages are there, disadvantages also is there. Now, one of the major disadvantages is that when they are focusing only on their functions, they may give less emphasis for organizational objective, organization interest. They may give less emphasis for organization interest or organizational objective. Because they will be focused only on attaining the objective of their department. Many a times that happens. They will forget what is organization's objective. They have to keep in mind they are working in order to attain. Through attaining the department objective, they are helping in attaining organization objective. But the second portion is often forgotten. They focus only on their department's objective, give less emphasis for organization objective, which is harmful for the organization. Another one is that problems of coordination can be there. Problems of coordination can be there. Problems of coordination. Problems of coordination can be there, because it has to pass through different departments. It has to pass through different departments. Each department will be different in nature, which they will find very difficult to understand what is happening in other departments. So many times to get it coordinated with one another, automatically that can be a problem, because every department is functionally different. So they may not very easily understand what the other department is trying to convey, or how they have to work in relation with other department. Many a times it may not be understandable by the other department. Third one is conflict of interest. Conflict of interest. Conflict of interest can be there. See, when a production department is, when we are looking at production department may be focused on producing maximum, but when we look at the sales department, they may be focusing at producing in such a way that it attracts the customers, then only they can sell. So likewise there can be, because different departments have different interests, and automatically this interest can create a conflict. When one department is saying that we have to produce things at lower cost, other department is saying ignore the cost, make it in such a way the customers are welcoming it. So many a times this kind of conflicts, inter-department conflicts can be there in functional structure. And fourth one is a kind of a kind of inflexibility. Inflexibility. Inflexibility because of the reason that people of similar skills will be there in the department, and automatically what happens is that two people having same skill, same understanding may not be able to accept each other, which they may be in repelling condition rather than appreciating. So when people with similar skills, two people with similar skills are there, automatically there can be a kind of narrow perspectives may be built among them, which they may not be able to accept each other. That can also be a problem. So that is all about functional structure.